You've walked this life believing some things are possible and others are miracles, that some are lucky and some are chosen. But let me tell you a truth so powerful, it can rearrange the very fabric of your reality. There is no magic, there is only law, and you are the one using it whether you know it or not. From the moment you dare to feel something as though it's real, you activate the unseen mechanics of this divine universe. It may look like coincidence, it may appear as a miracle, but it is neither. It is simply the result of a law older than time, responding to your inner vision. Imagination is the womb of all creation. Every empire, every love story, every healed body, every fortune built began in the unseen. It was first felt, then believed, then received, not by force, but by alignment. The outer world is only ever echoing the state you maintain within. So if you feel lack, even with money in hand, lack will follow. But if you feel abundance, even while counting your last coin, the universe must unfold more to match it. You don't have to chase. You don't have to beg. You don't have to try so hard. You have to feel as though it is already done. That's the law. When you walk as though the answer is already yours, when you speak as though it's already finished, when you rest as though the battle has already been won, then what felt impossible becomes inevitable. This is why so many call it magic, because it moves without visible effort, because doors open without knocking, because things appear when logic says they shouldn't. But you know the secret. You've always held it, and now you remember. So I ask you, what if you stop trying to control the how and just assume the result? What if you speak as the one who already has it? What if you live not in hope, but in knowing? Because when you do that, it may feel like magic to the world, but to you it's just divine law doing what it always does, responding to who you are inside. And that is the real miracle. Everything you experience, every moment that unfolds in your life, is first born in imagination. The world you see around you is not happening to you, it is being shaped by you from the inside out. What seems magical to others is simply you walking through the blueprint you have already designed in the quiet chambers of your mind. It is not chance, it is not luck, it is law. Imagination is not a fleeting daydream or a distraction from reality. It is reality in seed form. Every great architect begins with a vision, long before the first stone is laid. Every artist feels the completed masterpiece before the first brush touches canvas. In the same way, your life takes shape in the unseen realm before it ever appears in the visible. What you entertain in imagination, especially when infused with feeling, becomes the instruction you hand over to the divine machinery of creation. There is a silent intelligence that governs all things, and it does not respond to words. It responds to your state of being. And your state is formed by what you consistently see and feel in imagination. If you dwell in thoughts of lack, fear, or failure, the outer world must mirror that back to you. But when you make a habit of imagining yourself as abundant, loved, successful, no matter your current circumstances, you shift the blueprint. And because the law is unfailing, the outer world must eventually align with the image you've constructed within. It may feel strange at first, to close your eyes and live in the end, to feel what it's like to be already wealthy when the bills are still due, to act as if your body is whole while you're still healing, to speak as though you are chosen when you've been overlooked. But this is the act of creation. This is the divine work. You are not pretending, you are creating. You are laying down a new pattern in consciousness, and all of reality bends to reflect that pattern back. Others may look at your life and say you're lucky, it's like magic. But you'll know better. You'll know that the seemingly impossible occurred because you dared to believe it was already so. You'll know that the world shifted because you shifted. And while others wait for proof to believe, you'll believe until proof has no choice but to appear. The secret is persistence. Imagination must become your dwelling place, not your occasional escape. You must visit the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it no longer feels like a wish, but your natural state. From that place, you won't just hope for change, you'll expect it. You'll live as though it's already done, and in doing so, you'll collapse the distance between dream and manifestation. The world is a mirror. It reflects not your effort, but your assumption. Change the blueprint, and the building must change. There is no exception to this truth. And once you truly grasp it, you'll realize there is nothing magical about your success. It was yours the moment you imagined it. The outer simply obeyed the inner. So dream boldly, feel deeply. Walk through your imagination as though it were more real than what you see, because it is. And the moment you do, what once felt like fantasy will rise to meet you, and the world will call it a miracle. Feeling is not a passive response to life. It is the very language through which you communicate with the unseen power that shapes all things. While the world teaches you to react emotionally to what you see, the truth is far more powerful. Your emotions are signals, frequencies, vibrations that precede and shape what you experience. They are not consequences of reality. They are the creators of it. You may think that thoughts are enough, that affirmations alone can bring change. But thought without feeling is like sound without resonance. It doesn't reach far. It doesn't imprint itself into the fabric of existence. But when a thought is infused with emotion, when it's felt deeply and sincerely, it becomes a command to the universe, a declaration, a vibrational signature that says, "This is who I am. This is what is real to me now." And that is what the law responds to. Not to your words, not to your hard work, not even to your long waiting, but to your inner state of emotional certainty. You may say you desire abundance, but if you feel poor, scarcity will continue to appear. You may say you want love, but if you feel unworthy, rejection will seem to follow. Not because you are doomed, but because the signal you are sending out is being answered with absolute precision. The moment you feel it is real, you collapse the distance between your current state and your desired outcome. You no longer just want it, you become it. This is the secret. When you imagine and then embody the emotional reality of the wish fulfilled, you are not just daydreaming, you are creating. You are shifting the frequency of your being, and because all things in the universe respond to frequency, your outer world must eventually reshape itself to match your inner conviction. It is not effort that moves mountains. It is not striving or struggle. It is belief. It is the unwavering, unshakable emotional experience of already having. And this is why you must be careful what you entertain. Every time you worry, you rehearse a reality you do not want. Every time you feel grateful before the thing arrives, you accelerate its appearance. The law is blind to your words and conscious intentions. It only sees the signal you broadcast with your emotional state. So the question is never, how do I get this? The true question is, can I feel it now? Can you feel the peace of already being loved? Can you feel the confidence of already being successful? Can you feel the freedom of already having what you once thought was out of reach? If you can, you are not hoping anymore. You are creating. You are calling it into being. Not with force, but with frequency. Feeling is not weakness. It is not noise. It is power. It is law in motion. And the more you align with the emotional essence of what you desire, the more life will begin to reflect it back to you with astonishing accuracy. So practice feeling the end. Dwell in the joy, the gratitude, the fulfillment of your desires as though they were already yours. Because in that moment they are. Emotion is your access to the infinite. And once you master it, there is nothing you cannot bring into form. There is a sacred order to the universe, a law that governs all creation. It is quiet, it is invisible, it is constant, and though you may not always perceive its workings, it never fails. Just like gravity does not need your permission to function, this divine law does not require your awareness to operate. But once you become conscious of it, once you begin to live in harmony with it, life begins to unfold in a way that seems effortless, even miraculous. Think of a seed. You plant it in the soil. You don't sit beside it all day, pulling at it, begging it to grow. You trust the process. You know that within that tiny seed is the perfect blueprint for a towering tree. You water it, you nurture the environment, but you do not try to force it open. That would destroy it. You allow the law of life to take over, silently, intelligently, and without fail. This is how manifestation works. What you plant in consciousness, through imagination and sustained belief, will take root. It begins beneath the surface of your awareness where you cannot yet see results. This is the part that tempts people to doubt. They say nothing is happening or it's not working. But that's only because they're judging the process by appearances. They want to see instant proof, yet the law doesn't cater to impatience. It answers to faith. Every desire you hold is a spiritual seed. When you imagine it, feel it, and assume it is already done, you plant it in the fertile ground of your inner world, and from that moment on, the law begins its silent work. You won't hear it move. You won't see it rearranging events, people, and circumstances. But it is doing exactly that, with precision far beyond your conscious mind. You are not required to figure out how it will happen. That part is not yours to manage. Your role is to believe, to persist in the assumption of the wish fulfilled, to trust the unseen even when the visible says otherwise. The law doesn't need your help, it needs your alignment. The moment you interfere with doubt, worry, or the need to control, you disturb the process. But when you remain faithful to the end you have seen within, the law moves everything necessary to bring it into form. Often, people confuse silence with inactivity. But the most powerful forces in existence are often invisible. Gravity, wind, thought, love. They move entire worlds without being seen. So too does the creative law that responds to your inner state. It does not speak, it does not shout. It simply obeys, flawlessly, quietly, perfectly. This is why patience is not passive. It is powerful. To wait with inner conviction is to say to the universe, I know it is done. And that knowing is what allows the law to complete its work without obstruction. Just like the seed that knows how to become the tree, your desire knows how to become your reality. Without your struggle, only your faith. So when you feel uncertain, remember this: the silence is not the absence of progress. It is the space where the miracle is forming. Trust it, honor it, and above all, believe. The law is always working, and it never misses its mark. There is a profound secret hidden in plain sight, one that few ever truly grasp. To manifest your desire, you must assume it is already fulfilled, not hope for it, not wish for it, not work endlessly to get it, but live from it. This means you adopt the inner state of the person who already has what they once longed for. You embody the version of yourself who is no longer seeking but resting, no longer striving but resting in certainty. When you assume the wish fulfilled, you shift your inner world, and that shift sends a powerful signal to the universe. You are no longer asking, you are thanking. You are no longer lacking, you are abundant. You no longer feel separate from what you want. You have merged with it, and the law that governs all creation must reflect that state of being back to you. Most people live in a state of waiting. They wait for the relationship before they feel loved. They wait for the money before they feel secure. They wait for the success before they feel confident. But this is backwards. The outer world only mirrors the inner world. If you wait to feel it, you will wait forever. But if you dare to feel it first, you summon the very conditions that bring it into reality. So how do you live from the wish fulfilled? You begin by seeing yourself differently. You walk into rooms with the confidence of the one who already received the opportunity. You speak with the assurance of someone already chosen. You rest at night not in anxiety, but in the peace that comes from knowing it is done. Your actions are no longer desperate or forced. They are the natural expressions of someone who knows their desire is already theirs. This assumption is not delusion, it is creation. It is choosing to trust the unseen more than the seen. It is aligning your inner world with the reality you wish to experience, even when the outer world hasn't caught up yet. And when done persistently, it must catch up. It must conform. Your imagination is the workshop, your feeling is the blueprint, and your assumption is the energy that sets the law in motion. When you feel as though it's already yours, you give the universe no room to do anything but reflect that truth. It is not your job to figure out the how. That part belongs to the unseen intelligence that knows exactly how to bring your vision into form. Your job is to remain faithful to the end you've imagined. Every time you return to the feeling of already having, you water the seed you've planted. Every time you assume the best, you accelerate the process. It is not effort that brings your desires. It's alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, and identity match the reality you want, you become magnetic to it. So assume it, walk like it, talk like it, rest like it. Because when you live from the wish fulfilled, you are no longer asking for permission from the universe. You are declaring what is already true in your inner world. And that declaration is irresistible. It must be answered. There is a truth so profound, yet so often overlooked. Everything that happens in your life originates from within you. Not outside, not from fate, not from chance. The experiences you encounter, whether you call them luck, coincidence, or miracle, are merely the reflection of your inner world. You are not at the mercy of external forces. You are the source. What you believe, feel, and assume within becomes your outer reality, and with divine and unerring precision. Most people live believing that life happens to them. They think opportunities show up randomly, that blessings fall on some while others are forgotten. But what they don't see is that the world outside is nothing more than a mirror. It has no power of its own. It only reflects back to you the image you consistently hold in your consciousness. If you believe you are lucky, life will reflect back circumstances to affirm it. If you feel unworthy, the world will show you proof of that unworthiness. Not because it is true, but because it is your belief. This is not punishment. It is law. A mirror does not judge, it does not distort, it simply reflects. And the mirror of life works the same way. It returns to you not what you want with your words, but what you are in your inner state. That is why change must begin within. Waiting for the world to change before you feel different is like staring at a mirror and waiting for your reflection to smile before you do. It doesn't work that way. There is no external power because there is nothing outside of consciousness. Everything begins as a thought, a feeling, an assumption. Every so-called miracle is the natural unfolding of something that was once accepted within. When you feel blessed, life must deliver blessings. When you live as if you are chosen, the world treats you as such. When you walk in confidence, opportunities that match that confidence seem to appear. But they are not appearing, they are being drawn to you by the frequency you are embodying. This understanding is both liberating and sobering. It means you are fully responsible. You are the cause. And with that responsibility comes power. The power to rewrite any part of your life. If your relationships don't reflect love, go within and become love. If your finances reflect lack, change your inner conversation about money and worth. When you correct the root, the branches must follow. It is impossible for the external not to respond to the internal. The world is not separate from you, it is you expressed in form. When you understand this, you stop fighting circumstances and start transforming consciousness. You stop chasing and begin attracting. You stop begging and begin declaring. The power you seek was never in others, in events, or in time. It has always lived within you, quiet, constant, and ready to be directed by your belief. So never again say, that was just luck, or it's out of my hands. Everything is within your hands because everything is within your mind. The miracle you are waiting for is simply your inner shift made visible. Change your self-concept and the entire world will change with it. There is no external power. There is only your power expressed through the law, shaping reality with divine precision. The path from desire to manifestation is not paved with effort, struggle, or endless striving. It is built on persistence. Not persistence in action, but persistence in assumption. The outer world will constantly tempt you to doubt, to waver, to adjust your inner vision based on what you see with your physical eyes. But true transformation comes to those who remain loyal to what is unseen, who persist in believing that what they have imagined is already theirs, even when there is no physical evidence yet to support it. Desire alone is not enough. Many people have dreams, wishes, and longings that never come to pass, not because they were impossible, but because they were abandoned too soon. A desire becomes destiny when it is held unwaveringly in consciousness, when it is nurtured in the inner world, regardless of how long it takes or how much the outer world appears unchanged. The universe does not respond to momentary wishful thinking. It responds to deep, consistent inner knowing. You may not see the results immediately. In fact, you may be met with the opposite of what you're assuming. That is the test. The outer world, like a mirror, takes time to catch up to the image you formed within. And just like a seed planted in soil takes time to sprout, your desire must pass through a season of invisibility. During this season, your faith is tested. Will you continue to live from the end even when nothing has changed? Will you still assume success when failure appears to surround you? Most give up in this phase. They allow the outer to dictate the inner. They reverse the flow of power. But those who persist, who assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, who return again and again to their inner vision, they are the ones who bend reality to their will. They are not stubborn with effort, but with belief. And it is this quiet, steadfast persistence that persistence is not about repetition alone. It's about loyalty. It's about becoming so identified with your desire that there is no longer a question of if, but only when. You no longer chase it because it has become you. You speak as though it is done. You act in alignment with the end result. And this alignment creates a magnetic pull that draws people, opportunities, and circumstances into your world that match your assumption. There will be moments when doubt knocks on the door, when the facts seem too loud, when logic says it's impossible. That's when you must go deeper. That's when you must remind yourself that the only truth is what you persist in assuming. The world has no choice but to conform to that which you refuse to let go of. So remain loyal to your vision. Ignore the noise of the world. Trust the process even when you cannot see the path. What you persist in assuming with conviction and emotion must harden into fact. It is law. Stay the course. Live from the end. And let your persistence turn your desire into destiny. Not by force, but by the quiet power of unwavering belief. You were never meant to live by effort alone, nor to chase life as if it were separate from you. Everything you seek is already within you, waiting to be expressed through your imagination, your feeling, your assumption, and your unwavering persistence. What seems like magic to the world is, in truth, the perfect and silent operation of divine law, always responding to your inner world with stunning accuracy. You are not a passive observer, you are the creator. Assume boldly, feel deeply, persist faithfully, and know this: the universe is already aligning itself with your belief. Thank you for listening. May you walk with quiet confidence, speak with power, and live from the truth that it is already done. Stay blessed, stay aligned, and never forget, the unseen is more real than anything you see. My friend, I ask you today, why do you run? Why do you chase, worry, and exhaust yourself over jobs, applications, and rejections? Do you not know that your provision does not come from man? Your source is far greater. You are not here to beg for opportunities. You are not created to struggle for survival. The moment you place your trust in God's plan, everything changes. You no longer operate from fear, but from assurance. Let go of the idea that you must chase. The very act of chasing affirms that what you desire is separate from you. But I tell you, it is not. The job, the position, the wealth, it already belongs to you. Your only task is to step into the knowing that it is done. Imagine yourself already in that position. Feel the joy of waking up every morning fulfilled and abundant. Let the feeling consume you. This is faith, not begging, not forcing, but knowing that God has already placed it in your hands. Do not be discouraged when doors seem to close. They are not rejections, they are redirections. The divine plan is unfolding in ways you cannot yet see. Your job is not to question, but to trust. The world may tell you that success comes from effort, from hustle, from endless pursuit. But I tell you, true success comes from stillness. Be still and know that God is working in your favor. No more desperation, no more doubting. Walk boldly, live confidently, and trust that everything you seek is already on its way to you. Stop chasing. Trust God's plan. You have been taught since childhood that your survival depends on a job, that without it you will lack, struggle, and fall behind. But I tell you, this belief is an illusion. Your job is not your provider. God is. Your paycheck does not sustain you. Divine provision does. The moment you place your trust in a position, a salary, or an employer, you build your house upon shifting sand. Look around you. There are people with prestigious jobs who live in fear, afraid of losing what they have. They toil and stress, believing that their security is tied to their employment. Yet, despite their hard work, some still lose their jobs, their wealth, and their sense of stability. Why? Because they place their faith in the wrong source. They believe money is their savior when, in truth, their provision comes from something far greater. When you chase a job, believing it is the key to your survival, you are living from a place of lack. You are affirming that without it, you are nothing. But I ask you, were you not cared for before you had a job? Were there not moments in your life when you had no idea how you would make it, yet somehow you did? That was not the result of a paycheck. That was divine provision. You were never meant to beg for security. You were never meant to exhaust yourself in fear of financial ruin. You were created to walk in the assurance that God supplies all your needs, not according to the limitations of an economy, but according to divine abundance. Look at the birds in the sky. Do they submit endless applications? Do they worry about tomorrow, yet they are fed, clothed, and sustained? If God cares for them, how much more will He care for you? The world teaches you that you must struggle to earn your place, that you must work tirelessly to secure your future, but this is a false doctrine. Work, yes. Contribute, yes, but do not worship your job as your provider. It is merely a channel, one of many, that God can use to bring you what you need. If one opportunity closes, another will open. If one source dries up, Another will flow in its place. Your supply is limitless because it does not come from man, it comes from the divine. When you understand this truth, you stop running in circles, you stop grasping, chasing, and fearing. You move through life with certainty, knowing that everything you need is already taken care of. You wake up each morning not with anxiety, but with peace, knowing that the provision for today is already yours. Let go of the desperation. Stop defining your worth by your employment status. Stop thinking that a job is the only way for you to be blessed. Instead, align yourself with the reality that your needs are already met. Walk in confidence, knowing that God has already made a way for you. The doors that are meant for you will open effortlessly. The opportunities that align with your purpose will come, not through struggle, but through divine timing. Your task is not to chase, but to trust, to move forward with faith rather than fear, to step into each day not as someone who is lost, but as someone who knows that every single need has already been provided for. You are not meant to live in worry. You are not meant to bow to financial anxiety. You are meant to walk boldly, knowing that no matter what happens in the world around you, you are taken care of. Your job is not your source. God is. And once you truly accept this, you will never live in fear again. When you chase something, you declare that it is separate from you. You affirm through your desperation that what you desire is out of reach. The very act of chasing reinforces the belief that you do not yet have it. But what if I told you that what you seek is already seeking you? That the opportunity you long for, the position you desire, the financial security you crave, all of it is already moving toward you. The only thing preventing it from arriving is your own resistance. Resistance is born out of fear. It is the energy of lack, the belief that if you do not run after something, it will slip away. You have been conditioned to think that the harder you work, the more effort you put in, the faster things will come to you. But in truth, when you operate from a place of neediness, you push what you desire further away. The universe does not respond to effort alone. It responds to the energy you hold within yourself. Imagine a river flowing freely. Water moves effortlessly, carving its path without force or struggle. Now imagine placing a dam in that river, blocking its flow. The water does not stop existing. It simply builds up, waiting to be released. Your chasing is that dam, your constant worry, your frantic searching, your desperate attempts to control every detail. These create blockages in the natural flow of your blessings. The moment you let go, the moment you release your grip, the water rushes forward. Faith is the act of releasing resistance. It is the deep, unwavering knowing that what is meant for you will come in its perfect time and form. It is not passive. It is not idle. Faith is the most powerful force in existence because it aligns you with the truth that all things are already done. You do not need to chase what is already yours. You only need to align with the reality where it is already in your possession. Consider the moments in your life when things worked out unexpectedly. Perhaps an opportunity came when you least expected it. A door opened when you had already given up, or a solution appeared out of nowhere. These moments were not coincidences. They were glimpses of what happens when you stop resisting, when you surrender your chase and allow life to unfold as it is meant to. But surrender does not mean inaction. It does not mean sitting idly and waiting for things to fall into your lap. It means moving with trust rather than tension. It means taking inspired action from a place of confidence rather than fear. There is a vast difference between acting out of desperation and acting out of faith. One says, I must do this or I will fail. The other says, I move forward because I know success is already mine. One is frantic, the other is assured. One pushes things away, the other attracts them effortlessly. Look at the most successful, fulfilled people. They do not chase, they do not beg, they embody an energy of certainty, and because of that, things gravitate toward them. This is not luck, it is alignment. You were not created to chase after scraps. You were designed to walk in assurance, knowing that everything you seek is already on its way to you. Let go of the chase. Release the need to control every outcome. Trust that what is meant for you is already in motion, seeking you just as much as you seek it. When you align with this truth, doors will open without force, opportunities will arise effortlessly, and life will unfold in ways greater than you ever imagined. Your world is not shaped by circumstances, nor is it dictated by chance. It is a direct reflection of your inner state. The way you feel, think, and believe is continuously shaping your external reality. If you feel desperate, if you constantly dwell in thoughts of lack, worry, and uncertainty, then life will mirror those exact conditions back to you. But if you embody confidence, trust, and an unshakable knowing that everything is already working in your favor, then your reality will shift to reflect that truth. Most people believe that they must first see evidence of change before they can believe in it. They wait for a job offer to feel secure, for money to appear before feeling abundant, for circumstances to improve before they allow themselves to relax. But this is backwards. The world does not shape your state of being. Your state of being shapes the world. The moment you internalize this, you unlock the power to transform your life. Think about the times when you were desperate for something, a job, an opportunity, financial stability. In that state, how did you feel? Likely anxious, uncertain, restless. And what was the outcome? More struggle, more waiting, more reasons to feel anxious. This is because desperation is rooted in the belief that you do not have what you need, and when you live from that belief, life reflects it back to you. Now, contrast that with moments when you felt completely assured, when you just knew something would work out. Perhaps you walked into an interview without fear, confident in your abilities. Perhaps you released the need to control an outcome, and suddenly the perfect opportunity presented itself. This is not coincidence. This is the power of alignment. When you feel secure within, life has no choice but to reflect that security back to you. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you want abundance, you must embody abundance. If you seek confidence, you must first cultivate it within yourself. This does not mean forcing yourself to be positive or pretending that challenges do not exist. It means shifting your foundational belief system, moving from a mindset of lack to a mindset of sufficiency, from doubt to certainty, from fear to trust. Consider a person who walks into a room with undeniable presence. They do not beg for attention, nor do they seek validation. They simply exist in a state of complete self-assurance, and because of that, others are drawn to them. Now consider another person who enters nervously, unsure of themselves, doubting their worth. That energy is felt just as strongly, and it repels rather than attracts. The same applies to every area of life, including your career, finances, and personal growth. The perfect role, the right opportunity, the financial security you seek, it is already available to you. It exists in a reality where you are confident, where you trust that all things are unfolding in your favor. Your task is not to chase it, but to align with it. You do this by shifting your internal world. Let go of desperation. Stop telling yourself that you must struggle to receive. Instead, step into the knowing that you are already provided for. When you embody this truth, you will no longer need to force things to happen. They will flow to you naturally, effortlessly. The right job, the right opportunities, the right circumstances. They will appear at the perfect time in the perfect way, not because you chased them, but because you became the person who naturally receives them. Your inner state is the foundation upon which your entire life is built. Shift your beliefs and your world will transform to match them. The moment you stop looking outward for proof and start embodying the truth within, you will see the evidence manifest before your eyes. Stop waiting for proof. Stop looking to the world for validation before you allow yourself to believe. The greatest secret to transformation is this: you must live as if the promise is already fulfilled. Most people live in a cycle of waiting. They wait for the job before they feel secure, for the money before they feel abundant, for the opportunity before they feel confident. But waiting only reinforces the idea that they do not yet have it. They place their faith in external circumstances rather than in the unseen reality that already exists within them. And as long as they continue to do so, they will remain in a state of longing, always reaching but never. The truth is that what you assume to be true becomes your reality. Your world is a mirror, constantly reflecting back to you the state of your inner being. If you believe that you lack opportunities, life will show you lack. If you believe that success is difficult, you will experience struggle. But if you assume deep in your core that you already have what you desire, then your world must shift to reflect that truth. How do you do this? You begin by embodying the feeling of already having the job, the provision, the success. You no longer speak as someone who is waiting. You speak, think, and act as if it is already done. You do not hope for the opportunity. You live in the certainty that it is yours. You do not beg for provision. You walk in the confidence that you are already provided for. Imagine for a moment that you already have the perfect job. Not that you are searching, not that you are waiting, but that it is already yours. How would you feel waking up in the morning? Would you feel anxious? Would you feel desperate? Would you feel secure, assured, and at peace? Would you worry about your next step, or would you move through your day with confidence, knowing that everything is working in your favor? What if you carried that feeling with you right now? What if, instead of looking at your current situation and reacting to it, you shifted your state to align with the reality you desire? This is not make-believe. This is the key to manifestation. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. The moment you embody the state of already having what you seek, you alter your entire energy. You move differently, you speak differently, you think differently, and because of that, life begins to reorganize itself to match your new state of being. Opportunities arise where there were none before. People are drawn to you. Doors open effortlessly. Not because you aligned yourself with the reality where they were already open. Some may say, but how can I believe something that has not yet happened? The answer is simple, because reality follows assumption. You have already done this before countless times. Have you ever assumed something bad would happen only to find it did? Have you ever feared the worst and seen it unfold? This is because what you deeply believe you bring into being. Now, instead of using this power unconsciously, you must use it intentionally. Assume the best. Assume that life is working for you. Assume that you are already hired, already successful, already living in abundance. Do not wait for proof. The proof will follow. You must first become in consciousness what you desire to be in the world. Stop worrying, stop doubting. You are not waiting for your future to arrive. It is waiting for you to claim it. Walk in the certainty that it is already done. Embody the feeling of already having it and watch as reality bends to your assumption. Live as if the promise is already fulfilled, and it will be. In a world filled with noise, constant distractions, and endless streams of information, it is easy to become overwhelmed. The more you chase, the louder the world seems to become. You check job postings obsessively, overanalyze rejection letters, and let the uncertainty of the future fill your mind with fear. But in doing so, you are drowning out the one voice that truly matters, the voice of divine guidance. There is a reason why you are told to be still and know. The answers you seek, the direction you need, the opportunities you are waiting for, they do not come through frantic searching or desperate striving. They come in the stillness. When you quiet your mind and listen, you will hear the truth. You are already being led. Most people panic at the first sign of uncertainty. They let fear drive them into a cycle of overthinking, constantly looking for external validation that things will be okay. But fear is a loud and deceptive voice. It convinces you that you must struggle, that you must force things to happen, that you are somehow alone in this process. But you are not alone. You are not forgotten. There is a divine plan unfolding, one that is greater than anything you could orchestrate on your own. Think about the times in your life when things seemed hopeless, yet somehow everything worked out. Perhaps you lost an opportunity only to later realize that something better was waiting. Perhaps you felt rejected, but in hindsight you see that you were being redirected. You did not have control over those outcomes, yet they happened in your favor. This is the power of divine guidance. Stop panicking over job postings. Stop refreshing your inbox waiting for a response. Stop replaying rejection in your mind and convincing yourself that you are running out of time. Instead, be still. The very act of stillness is an act of faith. It says, I trust that I am being guided. I trust that everything is working out for me. This does not mean doing nothing. It means moving from a place of trust rather than fear. It means applying for opportunities without desperation. It means walking into interviews with confidence, knowing that what is meant for you will not miss you. It means releasing the idea that rejection is failure and instead seeing it as divine redirection. When you quiet your mind, you will begin to sense the right path. You will feel nudges, inspired ideas, moments of clarity that seem to come from nowhere. That is divine direction. It does not come with flashing lights or loud announcements. It comes in the quiet moments when you're willing to listen. Fear will tell you that you must have all the answers now. Faith tells you that the answers will come when you need them. Fear will push you into panic and exhaustion. Faith allows you to move with peace and certainty. Which one will you choose? You do not have to have everything figured out. You do not need to chase every opportunity, worrying that you will be left behind. You are exactly where you need to be. The right job, the right opportunity, the right direction. It is already on its way to you. Your role is not to force it, but to align yourself with the knowing that it is already done. Take a deep breath. Let go of the noise. Stop letting the outside world dictate your peace. Be still and trust. The guidance you need is already within you, leading you step by step, and when you walk with that certainty, everything will begin to unfold exactly as it should. You were not placed on this earth to chase after jobs, to beg for opportunities, or to anxiously wonder if you are good enough. You were created with purpose, with a calling far greater than any single position, title, or paycheck. Yet so many people tie their worth to whether or not they are chosen by an employer, forgetting that they have already been chosen by something much greater. The world teaches you to chase, to submit endless applications, to mold yourself into what companies want. And when rejection comes, it makes you question your abilities, your value, and even your future. But you must understand this. Your calling is not dependent on a job. It is not something that can be granted or taken away by another person. It is something that is already within you, waiting to be fully realized. A job is just one avenue through which your purpose can be expressed. It is not the source of your security, your success, or your destiny. If you believe that your future is tied to a single opportunity, you are limiting yourself. You are much bigger than that. When you operate from a mindset of lack, believing you must fight and struggle for every opportunity, you lower yourself to the level of desperation. You accept less than you deserve. You shrink your potential. But when you shift into the understanding that what is meant for you cannot miss you, everything changes. You begin to carry yourself differently. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop begging and start believing. Do you think you were designed to live in fear, always worrying about your next paycheck, always questioning whether you are worthy of success? No. You were created to walk in confidence, knowing that your steps are already ordered. What does it mean to walk in faith? It means trusting that your provision is already set aside for you. It means stepping into each day with the certainty that the right doors will open, not because you forced them, but because they were always meant to. It means rejecting the idea that rejection is a failure. Instead, you see it for what it is, divine redirection. You must understand that effortless does not mean inactive. It does not mean sitting still and doing nothing. It means moving with trust, knowing that you do not have to struggle to receive what is already yours. Effortless means being in alignment, knowing that the right path will reveal itself at the right time. It means you no longer chase, you allow. When you shift your mindset from chasing to trusting, you attract opportunities that match your purpose. The right job will come, not just any job, but the one that aligns with your gifts, your values, and your true calling. You won't have to force it. You won't have to fight for it. It will come effortlessly because it was always meant for you. Let go of the fear. Let go of the idea that you must prove yourself to anyone. Stand in the truth that you are already worthy, already chosen, already equipped for the path ahead. A job is just a detail. Your calling is so much greater. Walk in faith and watch as everything unfolds exactly as it should. When you stop chasing and start trusting, everything shifts. You no longer live in fear, anxiously searching for validation from a job, a paycheck, or an opportunity. Instead, you walk in the confidence that what is meant for you is already yours. Your security does not come from the world. It comes from divine provision. Your success is not dependent on external forces, but on your ability to trust, believe, and align with the truth that you are already equipped for your purpose. The more you panic, the more you push away what is trying to reach you. But when you let go, when you silence the noise, when you stop forcing and start receiving, you will see that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. The right opportunities, the right timing, the right path. It's already being orchestrated for you. So take a deep breath. Stop doubting. Stop striving. Start trusting. Walk as if it is already done, because it is. You were never meant to beg for what is already yours. Thank you for listening, and may you move forward with peace, faith, and unwavering confidence in the plan that is already set for you. There comes a time when you must release the grip of effort and allow the unseen forces to carry you forward. You have spent your days analyzing, worrying, and overthinking, yet none of these have brought you closer to the life you truly desire. The mind you use daily is but a fragment of a greater intelligence. The thoughts that arise from fear, doubt, and struggle are merely echoes of an old self, conditioned by limitation. But beyond this mind is an infinite intelligence. The same force that orchestrates the stars, the tides, and the turning of the seasons. This intelligence is already within you, waiting for you to surrender to it. You do not need to figure out how your desires will manifest. The moment you assume that what you seek is already yours, the universe begins working in unseen ways to make it so. Your only task is to align yourself with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to trust that the answer is already known, and to allow the divine mind to bring it into form. The greatest minds in history did not achieve their success through ceaseless effort, but through inspiration. Flashes of insight received in stillness. They knew that the answers already existed, waiting to be received. So too must you become still, silent, and receptive. If you wish for love, do not chase it. Assume it is already yours, and the universe will move people, events, and circumstances to reflect that reality. If you desire wealth, do not strain. Assume the abundance is here and opportunities will emerge effortlessly. The moment you stop trying to think your way into a solution and instead allow the universe to think for you, your reality will transform. Let go, trust, and know that the same force that moves the heavens is moving within you, guiding your every step. Your mind is a tool, a powerful instrument capable of shaping the reality you experience. But like any tool, it is only as effective as the hand that wields it. Too often, people believe they must rely solely on their conscious thoughts, their reasoning, and their ability to analyze situations in order to create the life they desire. They think that by over-planning, over-analyzing, and constantly worrying, they will somehow gain control over their circumstances. But this is the greatest illusion of all. The conscious mind, no matter how disciplined or sharp, is limited. It can only process so much information at a time, and it operates within the boundaries of past experiences, beliefs, and conditioning. If you rely only on the conscious mind, you will find yourself trapped in cycles of doubt, hesitation, and fear. You will question whether something is possible, whether you are worthy of it, or whether the path forward even exists. And yet, beyond the noise of this limited mind, there is a vast and infinite intelligence that already knows the answers you seek. This intelligence is the same force that moves the stars, that causes the seasons to shift effortlessly, and that orchestrates life itself. It is not separate from you, it is you. But to access this intelligence, you must step beyond the conscious mind's limitations and allow something greater to guide you. This requires trust. It requires the willingness to let go of rigid control, and to accept that the answers will come not through forced effort, but through surrender. When you let go of overthinking, you make space for insight. How often have you struggled to find a solution to a problem only to have the answer appear effortlessly once you stopped trying? This is no accident. It is a demonstration of the greater intelligence at work. The mind, when left in a state of tension and over-analysis, blocks the flow of inspiration. But when you release the need to figure everything out, you open the door for wisdom to come through. True intelligence is not about accumulation of facts. It is about connection to something higher. Consider how nature functions without effort, how birds know when to migrate, how trees know when to shed their leaves, how the tides move in harmony with the moon. There is no struggle, no force, only alignment with the unseen intelligence that governs all things. In the same way, when you stop resisting and trying to control everything, your life begins to unfold naturally, in perfect order. The mistake people make is believing that the harder they think, the closer they will be to a solution. But the truth is, thinking too much often leads to confusion and inaction. The mind becomes cluttered with doubt, fear, and worst-case scenarios. It focuses on obstacles rather than opportunities. It keeps you in a loop of endless questions rather than allowing answers to arise. To move beyond this, you must cultivate stillness. Silence is the gateway to higher wisdom. When you quiet the endless chatter of the mind, you make space for the universe to speak to you. This is why the greatest insights often come in moments of peace, when you are walking, meditating, or simply resting in a state of deep trust. The answers you seek are already known, already prepared for you. Your task is not to struggle to find them, but to position yourself to receive them. Letting go does not mean doing nothing. It means shifting your focus from force to flow. Instead of trying to push your way through life, you allow yourself to be led by an intelligence far greater than logic alone. You align your mind with the certainty that everything is working in your favor, that the right ideas, people, and circumstances will emerge at the perfect moment. And when they do, you act, not from a place of stress or fear, but from deep knowing. The mind is the gatekeeper, but it is not the master. You must decide whether to live imprisoned by overthinking or to step into the vast intelligence that is always available to you. The choice is simple. Let go of the need to control every detail and trust that the universe already knows the way. Everything you experience in the external world is a reflection of what you hold in your inner world. The thoughts you dwell upon, the beliefs you accept, and the images you vividly entertain in your imagination all contribute to the reality you perceive. Most people believe that life happens to them, that circumstances are beyond their control, and that they must react to whatever comes their way. But the truth is, life is not something happening outside of you. It is something unfolding from within you. The universe is not separate from you. It is an extension of your awareness, shaped by the contents of your imagination. Imagination is not a mere tool for daydreaming or fantasy, it is the blueprint of creation. What you imagine and truly accept as real will inevitably find its way into your external experience. This is because consciousness is the foundation of all existence. Your awareness, your perception, and your ability to assume something as true determine what manifests in your life. The problem is most people do not consciously direct their imagination. Instead, they allow it to be influenced by fear, doubt, and past conditioning. They imagine worst-case scenarios, dwell on limitations, and reinforce the idea that they are stuck. And so life reflects these inner patterns back to them. To change your world, you must first change what you imagine to be true. If you constantly see yourself as lacking, struggling, or unworthy, you will continue to experience situations that confirm these assumptions. But the moment you shift your inner vision, when you begin to see yourself as abundant, capable, and fulfilled, this is not wishful thinking. It is a fundamental law of existence. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are conscious of being. Consider those who have achieved great success. They did not simply stumble into their realities by accident. Long before their success became visible, they saw it in their minds, felt it in their hearts, and lived in the certainty that it was already theirs. They may not have known the exact steps that would lead them there, but their inner assumption was unwavering. And because they imagined it so clearly and consistently, life had no choice but to reflect it back to them. The same principle applies to every area of life. If you wish for love, do not imagine yourself as lonely or undesired. Instead, see yourself as already loved, already cherished, already surrounded by the warmth and connection you seek. If you desire wealth, do not focus on the absence of money. Imagine yourself as financially secure, living in abundance, effortlessly receiving all that you need. Your imagination must precede your experience. What you hold within will be mirrored without. This is where most people struggle. They look at their current reality and allow it to dictate what they believe is possible. They say, "I will believe it when I see it," not realizing that they must first believe it in order to see it. The external world is not the cause, it is the effect. It is merely a reflection of the assumptions you hold. The key then is to discipline your imagination, to train it to dwell only on that which you wish to externalize. This requires faith, not in something outside of you, but in the power of your own awareness. You must accept that what you vividly imagine and deeply feel is already true, even if your senses tell you otherwise. If you can hold that assumption long enough, without contradicting it with doubt or fear, it will harden into fact. Life will rearrange itself to align with your dominant inner vision. You are not at the mercy of fate, you are the creator of your experience. The universe does not impose limits upon you, it simply responds to the limits you accept in your own mind. Once you realize this, you will no longer wait for circumstances to change before you feel different. You will change within, knowing that the outer world must follow. Your imagination is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Use it wisely, and it will lead you to everything you desire. There is a profound truth that most people overlook. The more you struggle, the more you push your desires away. The belief that effort, strain, and constant analysis are necessary for success is an illusion created by the conditioned mind. You have been taught that only through struggle can you achieve what you want, that control is the key to shaping your life. But the opposite is true. The more you try to force things into place, the more resistance you create. The more you attempt to manipulate every detail, the more you delay what is already meant for you. Consider the moments in your life when things have flowed effortlessly, when an opportunity appeared at the right time, when something you desired seemed to manifest out of nowhere, when a solution presented itself without struggle. These experiences were not coincidences. They were proof of a higher intelligence at work. This intelligence does not require your forceful effort. It requires your trust. It requires you to step back and allow the unseen forces to arrange everything for you in perfect timing. The human mind is limited in its ability to foresee every outcome. It tries to plan, predict, and control, believing that this will bring security. But in reality, overanalysis leads to confusion. When you overthink, you introduce fear, doubt, and hesitation. You question whether your desire will come to pass. You look for signs of progress, and when you do not see them, you grow anxious. This anxiety pushes your manifestation further away because it signals to the universe that you do not truly believe in the outcome. True creation does not come from control, it comes from surrender. Surrender does not mean giving up, it means releasing the need to control every step of the process. It means trusting that what you have imagined is already yours, even if you cannot yet see it. It means stepping into a state of knowing rather than wishing. Most people remain stuck in a cycle of wanting, wishing, and hoping, never realizing that they must shift into a state of certainty. Certainty is the language the universe understands. Imagine planting a seed in the ground. You do not dig it up every day to see if it is growing. You trust that with time it will sprout. You water it, you give it sunlight, and you allow nature to do the rest. But when it comes to your desires, you do the opposite. You plant the seed of an idea, but instead of trusting, you constantly check for results. You worry if it is growing. You doubt whether you planted it correctly. You become impatient and try to force the process, unknowingly uprooting what was meant to bloom. The higher mind already knows the path to your desire. It sees possibilities that your conscious mind cannot comprehend. When you surrender control, you give it permission to work. You step into alignment with the natural flow of life, where things happen effortlessly, where doors open without struggle, where the right people, circumstances, and opportunities come to you without force. Let go of the belief that you must struggle to receive. Let go of the need to control every step. Trust in the unseen forces that are always working in your favor. Step into a state of knowing, a state of ease, a state of complete faith. When you do, you will realize that everything you have ever wanted is already moving toward you. The only thing required is your willingness to receive it. Your entire reality is shaped by what you assume to be true. Every experience, every event, and every outcome in your life is a direct reflection of your internal state of being. Yet, most people believe that life happens to them, that circumstances dictate their experiences, and that they must wait for external changes before they can feel different. This is an illusion. The truth is, your assumptions create your world. The universe is not deciding your fate. You are, through the beliefs you hold and the feelings you embody. Now, assumption is not mere wishful thinking. It is a state of certainty, a deep inner knowing that what you desire is already yours. When you assume something to be true, you accept it as a fact in your mind, and because the external world is a mirror of your inner world, it must conform to that assumption. The key is not just to think about your desire, but to feel as though it has already materialized. Feel it as real, as present, as inevitable. Your emotions are the language of creation, and when you shift into the feeling of already having what you seek, you send out a powerful signal that sets the universe into motion. Most people assume lack, struggle, and delay. They assume that their desires are far away, difficult to attain, or dependent on external conditions. And so life continues to reflect those assumptions back to them. They remain stuck in waiting, constantly looking for proof before they allow themselves to believe. But belief must come first. You do not wait for circumstances to change. You change your inner world, and circumstances will follow. Imagine you are an actor playing a role. If you were given the role of a confident, successful person, you would step into that character fully. You would walk differently, speak differently, think differently. You would embody that role without hesitation. And soon the world would begin responding to you in kind. People would treat you according to the energy you project. Opportunities would arise that match your new self-concept. The universe does not recognize what is true or false in the way the logical mind does. It simply responds to what you assume to be real. The problem arises when people waver in their assumption. They visualize their desire, feel it for a moment, but then look around and see that nothing has changed. Doubt creeps in, fear takes hold. They begin questioning whether their assumption is working, and by doing so, they shift back into their old state. This is where most people fail. They assume for a brief moment but do not persist. But assumption is not about brief moments of belief. It is about unwavering certainty. It is about holding the inner conviction that what you desire is already done, even when there is no physical evidence. When you truly assume something, you no longer wonder if it will happen. You no longer seek signs. You no longer need reassurance. You know it is yours, just as you know the sun will rise tomorrow. This deep inner conviction moves mountains. It shifts reality in ways you cannot comprehend. You do not need to know how or when things will unfold. You only need to remain firm in your assumption. The universe will take care of the details. Think of any great achiever, any person who has transformed their life. They did not wait for proof before believing in themselves. They stepped into the version of themselves they wanted to be before the world reflected it back to them. They assumed their success, their abundance, their happiness, and because they lived in that assumption, the external world had no choice but to align with it. This is the power that lies within you. You are not at the mercy of fate, nor are you a victim of circumstance. You are the creator of your experience, shaping reality with every belief you hold. Assume the feeling of already having what you seek, and life will reorganize itself to match that inner state. Stop waiting, stop doubting, and step into the certainty that it is already done. When you do, you will see the world shift before your eyes. In a world that glorifies busyness, movement, and effort, the greatest secret remains hidden in plain sight. True power lies in stillness, not in frantic action, not in overthinking, not in chasing after results, but in the quiet space where all creation begins. Yet most people resist stillness. They feel the need to constantly do, plan, and control, believing that only through relentless effort can they achieve their desire. But this is an illusion. The more you strain, the more you push your desires away. The more you try to force outcomes, the more resistance you create. Stillness is not inactivity. It is a state of deep alignment with the intelligence of the universe. When you silence the mind and withdraw from the chaos of doubt and fear, you enter a place where everything becomes clear. It is in this space of inner quiet that true wisdom arises. Not from logic, not from struggle, but from intuition. From the deep knowing that transcends the limitations of the conscious mind. Consider the moments in your life when the best answers came to you. It was not when you were overanalyzing or desperately searching for a solution. It was in the moments of calm, perhaps in the stillness of an early morning, in the quiet of a peaceful walk, or just before sleep. The mind was at rest, and in that rest, wisdom had the space to rise. This is how the universe speaks, not through force, but through inspired insight. But most people never give themselves this space. They are consumed by noise, external noise from the world around them, and internal noise from their own doubts and fears. They ask for guidance, yet they do not stop to listen. They seek clarity, yet they drown themselves in constant thought. They want the next step to be revealed, yet they do not allow the silence in which it can be shown. Stillness is the bridge between thought and manifestation. It is the place where imagination transforms into reality. When you cultivate stillness, you remove the blocks that have kept your desires from reaching you. You dissolve resistance, quiet the mind, and allow yourself to receive. Most people believe they must chase after success. But the truth is, success comes to those who are open to receiving it. And the only way to truly receive is to be still enough to hear the guidance that is always present. In stillness, you also reclaim your energy. Every moment spent in worry, stress, and doubt is a moment of power given away. When you stop reacting to everything outside of you, when you stop fighting against what is, you conserve your energy and redirect it toward creation. You step into a place of effortless alignment where the right opportunities, ideas, and people come to you naturally. There is no need to chase. What is meant for you will be drawn into your reality with ease. The greatest creators, visionaries, and enlightened beings have all understood this truth. They knew that force was never the answer. They knew that the mind, when silenced, could perceive beyond what was immediately visible. They knew that intuition, not effort, was the true guide to success. And they trusted that by stilling the inner world, the outer world would align itself accordingly. You do not need to have all the answers right now. You do not need to figure out every detail. You only need to quiet the mind and allow the answers to come. Trust in the wisdom that speaks through stillness. It will guide you toward exactly what you seek in ways more perfect than you could ever plan. Let go of the need to force, to struggle, to control. Step into stillness, and you will find that everything you have been searching for has been waiting for you all along. You are not separate from the intelligence that governs the universe. You are not a mere observer of life, watching events unfold beyond your control. You are one with the infinite, woven into the very fabric of creation itself. The same force that causes the stars to shine, the tides to rise and fall, and the seasons to change is the same force that breathes life into you. You are not disconnected from this power. You are an extension of it. Yet, most people live as though they are alone, struggling against the currents of life, believing they must figure everything out by themselves. But this is an illusion. The truth is that the universe is working through you, guiding you, shaping your path in ways beyond what the conscious mind can perceive. When you recognize your oneness with the infinite, you stop fearing the unknown. You stop doubting whether your desires are possible because you understand that they are already within you, waiting to be expressed. The desires that arise in your heart are not random. They are whispers from the divine, calling you toward your highest potential. The very fact that you can imagine something means it already exists within the realm of possibility. The only thing required of you is to trust, to surrender to the flow of life instead of resisting it, to allow the intelligence of the universe to work through you rather than against you. Many people block this infinite power by clinging to control. They analyze, they overthink, they try to force outcomes according to their limited understanding. But the conscious mind, as powerful as it may seem, is only a small fragment of the whole. It does not have the full picture. It cannot see the intricate ways in which circumstances are being rearranged behind the scenes. The higher intelligence within you is always at work, orchestrating events in ways that go beyond human logic. When you insist on controlling every step, you limit what is possible. But when you trust, when you allow, you open the door for miracles to unfold. Look at nature and see how effortlessly it moves. The rivers do not struggle to reach the ocean, they simply flow. The trees do not worry about whether they will grow, they simply respond to the intelligence within them. The sun does not question whether it should rise, it simply follows the rhythm of existence. And yet humans, who are made of the same divine substance, constantly doubt, question, and resist. They believe they must fight for every opportunity, force every outcome, and struggle to make things happen. But what if the key was not in struggle, but in alignment? What if you could achieve more by stepping into harmony with the infinite intelligence that is already guiding you? This does not mean you do nothing. It means you act from a place of trust rather than fear. You take inspired action, not desperate action. You listen to the subtle nudges, the quiet knowing that tells you which direction to move in. You follow intuition rather than force. The universe is always speaking to you. Through signs, through synchronicities, through the feeling that something is right even if you don't know why. When you align with this guidance, life flows effortlessly. The right people, opportunities, and circumstances arise naturally. What once seemed impossible suddenly becomes inevitable. Your job is not to micromanage the universe. Your job is to align yourself with the knowing that you are one with it. Instead of asking how something will happen, trust that it already is. Instead of doubting whether you are supported, feel the presence of infinite intelligence moving through you. Instead of struggling against life, flow with it. The moment you stop seeing yourself as separate, you unlock a power that has always been within you. You were never meant to struggle. You were meant to create, to experience, to expand, and to know that the same force that moves the stars is moving within you, guiding you effortlessly toward everything you desire. The truth has always been simple. You are not separate from the universe. You are one with it. The same intelligence that governs the cosmos is within you, shaping your reality through your assumptions, your imagination, and your willingness to trust. When you let go of struggle, when you detach from overanalyzing and forcing outcomes, you step into the natural flow of creation. Stillness becomes your power, and assumption becomes the key that unlocks all possibilities. There is no need to chase, no need to beg, no need to doubt. Everything you desire is already yours the moment you align with it in consciousness. The universe does not operate on force, it moves through faith, belief, and surrender. Let go of the need to control every step and allow the infinite intelligence within you to guide the way. When you trust, when you allow, when you assume the best with unwavering certainty, you will see the evidence unfold before you in ways you never expected. Your mind is not meant to be a battlefield. It is meant to be a bridge between the seen and the unseen. Step into your power, trust the process, and know that you are divinely supported. Let the universe think for you, and watch as your life transforms effortlessly. Thank you. There is a great secret, and few ever realize it. Your focus is the most powerful tool you possess. Wherever you direct it, energy flows, and reality shapes itself accordingly. Yet most people scatter their focus, chasing validation, explaining themselves, seeking approval from those who do not hold the power to shape their destiny. You do not need to explain your journey to anyone. Silence is misunderstood by those who fear their own thoughts. But it is the foundation upon which all creation rests. Your silence is not emptiness. It is alignment. In silence, the greatest revolutions begin. In silence, the most profound shifts occur. Let the world wonder. Let them assume. Let them question. It does not concern you. When you are focused on yourself, you step into a power that cannot be seen but is deeply felt. Others may not understand why you have grown distant, why you no longer engage in trivial distractions, but that is not your burden to carry. Your purpose is not to convince anyone of your transformation. Your purpose is to embody it. Detach from the noise. Detach from the opinions. The moment you stop explaining yourself is the moment you reclaim your power. When you no longer chase, beg, or seek validation, life begins to work in your favor. Doors open, paths clear. What you once struggled to attain now flows effortlessly into your reality. Do not waste your breath trying to make people see what only you were meant to understand. Remain silent and trust. For in your silence, the unseen is taking form. In your solitude, something greater is being built. Focus on yourself, and soon the world will focus on you. Not because you sought its attention, but because you no longer needed it. The world you experience is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts you continuously hold within your mind. Every circumstance, every encounter, and every event is a mirror, showing you what you have accepted as truth about yourself and life. Most people believe that life happens to them, that events unfold randomly, that circumstances are dictated by forces outside their control. But the reality is far different. Life is shaped from within. The world you walk through each day is not separate from you. It is a projection of your assumptions, beliefs, and deeply held thoughts. When you allow yourself to fully grasp this truth, you begin to realize the immense power you hold. Nothing exists independently of your awareness. If you assume yourself to be limited, struggling, or unworthy, Life will mold itself to confirm those beliefs. It will present obstacles, rejection, and hardship, not because you are destined to suffer, but because that is what you unconsciously affirm. But if you assume yourself to be worthy, abundant, and successful, the world must shape itself to reflect that state of being. It has no choice. Your beliefs act as an invisible architect, constructing the reality you walk through each day. These beliefs are not just idle thoughts that pass through your mind, they are the foundations upon which your entire life is built. If you constantly tell yourself that success is difficult, that love is rare, or that happiness is fleeting, you will see these ideas play out before you, not because they are absolute truths, but because you have accepted them as such. On the other hand, when you change the way you think, when you replace doubt with certainty, fear with confidence, and limitation with possibility, life begins to shift in ways that seem almost miraculous. It is not enough to simply wish for change while continuing to entertain the same limiting thoughts. True transformation requires a shift in consciousness, a deep and unwavering belief that what you desire is already yours. This is where most people falter. They allow the evidence of the physical world to dictate their beliefs, instead of understanding that their beliefs create the physical world. They look at their current circumstances and reinforce them by reacting emotionally, further embedding those unwanted experiences into their reality. But the key to changing your life is to first change what you accept as true within yourself. Assume the feeling of already being the person you wish to become. Not someday, not in the distant future, but right now. Let your thoughts reflect that reality. If you desire success, do not dwell on failure. If you seek love, do not entertain thoughts of loneliness. If you wish for abundance, let go of ideas of lack. The more you persist in an assumption, the more it solidifies into reality. Life does not respond to your wishes, it responds to your conviction. The shift does not happen overnight. The mind, conditioned by years of habitual thinking, will resist at first. Doubt will creep in. The external world may continue to reflect the old beliefs for a while. But your job is not to react to the old reality. It is to persist in your new assumption, knowing that the external world is only a delayed reflection of your inner state. If you hold firm, if you refuse to let appearances dictate your inner world, you will witness a transformation so profound that it will feel as though the entire universe has conspired to shift in your favor. Most people remain trapped in the cycle of reacting to life rather than creating it. They wake up each day and allow their environment to dictate how they feel, what they believe, and what they expect. But the moment you take control of your inner world, everything changes. You are no longer a passive participant, you become the creator. You begin to walk through life with an unshakable confidence, knowing that you are the master of your destiny. Hold the assumption of your ideal life so firmly in your mind that it becomes more real to you than the world you currently see. Do not wait for evidence, create it. Do not seek external validation, know it within. When your inner world shifts, the outer world has no choice but to follow. Silence holds a power that few truly understand. In a world that thrives on noise, where people constantly seek validation through words and external recognition, the ability to remain silent is often mistaken for weakness. But true strength does not need to announce itself. It does not seek to prove, argue, or convince. It simply is. The greatest transformations, the most profound shifts in life, happen in silence, away from the noise of opinions and distractions. And silence is the space where real power is cultivated. It is in silence that the mind clears, that thoughts become intentional, and that desires take form. When you resist the urge to explain yourself, when you stop feeling the need to justify your actions, you reclaim the energy that is so often wasted on trying to make others understand you. Not everyone is meant to understand your journey, and that is perfectly fine. Your growth, your success, your transformation None of it requires the approval of others. The most successful, powerful individuals move in silence. They do not broadcast their plans, their struggles, or their next moves. Instead, they focus inward, directing all their energy toward their vision, allowing their actions and results to do the speaking for them. Words can be manipulated, misunderstood, or dismissed, but results are undeniable. When you commit to your path and refuse to be distracted by external noise, you step into a power that few possess, the power of quiet certainty. When you speak less, you observe more. You begin to notice things that others overlook. You become attuned to the subtle shifts in energy, the hidden opportunities, and the unspoken intentions of those around you. Silence sharpens your intuition, giving you an edge that cannot be acquired through loudness or constant expression. When you are silent, you listen, not just to others, but to yourself, to the whispers of your own soul, to the guidance that comes when the mind is still. Many people fear silence because they associate it with invisibility, with being overlooked or forgotten. But the opposite is true. Those who master the art of silence command a presence that is felt even when they do not speak. There is a quiet confidence in those who do not need to fill every moment with words. Their energy speaks for them. Their actions make a statement that no speech could ever match. Discipline yourself to resist the urge to announce your every move. Not everyone needs to know what you are working on, what you are struggling with, or what you intend to achieve. The more you reveal, the more room you leave for doubt, interference, and negativity from those who do not have your best interests at heart. Protect your energy by keeping your plans close. Let people see the results when they manifest, not when they are still in the delicate process of formation. Silence is not passivity. It is not avoidance. It is a deliberate choice to conserve energy, to move with intention, and to operate from a place of quiet power. Those who waste their breath trying to prove themselves to others are often the ones who lack true confidence. They seek external validation because they have not yet built internal certainty. But when you truly believe in yourself, you do not need to say much. You simply do. There will always be those who misunderstand your silence, who mistake it for a lack of direction or purpose. But that is because they have not yet learned that the greatest storms build in quiet. The most profound transformations happen when no one is watching. The most unstoppable people do not announce themselves. They emerge fully formed when the time is right. Resist the urge to react, to explain, to seek approval. Move in silence, not because you are afraid to speak, but because you know that true power does not need to be declared. It is felt. And when the time comes, the world will see what you have been building, not through your words, but through the undeniable reality of your success. The need for validation is one of the greatest chains that bind people to lives of limitation. From a young age, many are conditioned to seek approval, to be praised, to be accepted, to be acknowledged. But in doing so, they unknowingly give away their power. The moment you look outside yourself for validation, you allow the opinions of others to dictate your worth, your choices, and ultimately your destiny. True freedom begins the moment you detach from this need and realize that you do not require permission to become the person you were meant to be. When you constantly seek validation, you live in a state of uncertainty. You measure your worth based on how others perceive you. And because opinions are ever changing, so is your sense of self. One day you may feel confident because someone praises you. The next, you may feel doubtful because someone criticizes you. This is a dangerous way to live because it means your inner world is controlled by forces outside of you. But the truth is, no one can define you except yourself. No one holds the authority to determine your value. The only validation you truly need is your own. Detaching from external validation is not about rejecting feedback or isolating yourself from the world. It is about recognizing that you are the ultimate authority over your life. You must learn to trust your own judgment, to stand firm in your beliefs even when others do not understand them. If you are constantly looking for reassurance, you will always be at the mercy of others' opinions, and your life will become a reflection of their expectations rather than your true desires. The greatest minds, the most successful individuals, and the most powerful people in history did not seek approval. They walked their path with certainty, often in the face of opposition, ridicule, and doubt. They understood that seeking validation is a distraction, a way of handing control over to those who do not see the vision as clearly as they do. They were not swayed by public opinion because they knew that true conviction does not require confirmation. When you stop seeking validation, you become unshakable. You no longer need constant reassurance that you are on the right path. You simply trust yourself. You move with a quiet confidence, knowing that your worth is not up for debate. This shift in mindset liberates you. You are no longer held back by fear of judgment. You stop hesitating, stop second-guessing, and start living fully, unapologetically, as the person you were meant to be. Many people remain trapped in a cycle of seeking approval because they fear rejection. They fear being misunderstood or criticized. But rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It is simply a sign that not everyone is meant to walk with you. The opinions of others are shaped by their own limitations, fears, and beliefs. What someone else thinks of you has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. The moment you understand this, you reclaim your power. Walking your path with certainty does not mean you will never face resistance. In fact, the stronger your belief in yourself, the more you will challenge the status quo and the more opposition you may encounter. But this is not a sign to stop. It is a sign to keep going. If you live for approval, you will live a life of compromise. But if you live for truth, your truth, you will experience a freedom that most people never taste. Trust yourself. You do not need permission to evolve, to grow, to change. You do not need approval to chase your dreams, to walk away from what no longer serves you, or to step into the life you desire. The only permission you need is your own. And when you give it to yourself, when you fully embrace the power that has always been within you, the world will have no choice but to recognize the force that you have become. Energy is the currency of life. Where you direct it determines what you experience. Most people spend their energy carelessly, focused on others, consumed by opinions, reacting to external circumstances. They scatter their power, giving their attention to things that do not serve them, and then wonder why life feels chaotic and unfulfilling. But the truth is simple. The energy you give is the energy you receive. If you pour your attention into distractions, you will receive more distractions. If you obsess over what others think, you will feel uncertain and dependent on their approval. But if you focus on yourself, your growth, your desires, your inner world, life aligns in your favor, bringing you exactly what you seek. Many do not realize how much energy they waste by being overly concerned with others. They analyze people's opinions, compare themselves, and seek validation, not understanding that every thought and emotion directed outward weakens their own power. The more you give your energy to others in this way, the less you have for yourself. This is why so many feel drained, stuck, or lost, because their energy is not focused on their own path. They are living reactively instead of intentionally. But when you shift that focus inward, everything changes. You reclaim your energy. You stop chasing and start attracting. The moment you prioritize yourself, your goals, your mindset, your well-being, you begin to move differently. You radiate confidence, and that confidence draws opportunities, people, and circumstances that align with your desires. This is not a coincidence. It is a reflection of the law that governs all things. What you send out is what you receive. If you constantly focus on negativity, on what is wrong, on what you lack, on what others are doing, you invite more of the same into your life. But if you shift your energy to gratitude, self-improvement, and possibility, life responds accordingly. It is not about forcing things to happen, but about creating the right internal environment for them to happen naturally. When you operate from a place of abundance abundance flows toward you. When you move with certainty, life mirrors that certainty back to you. This is why focusing on yourself is the most powerful thing you can do. It is not selfish, it is necessary. The more you invest in your own energy, the more magnetic you become. You do not need to chase, convince, or struggle. You simply need to align. An alignment happens when you stop looking outward for direction and start trusting that everything you need is already within you. The world will try to pull your energy in 1,000 different directions. It will tempt you to compare, to react, to seek approval. But every time you give in to these distractions, you weaken your own power. Instead, discipline yourself to remain focused. Ask yourself daily, where is my energy going? Is it fueling my growth, or is it being wasted on things beyond my control? When you truly understand that energy is your most valuable asset, you will guard it fiercely. You will stop engaging in pointless arguments. You will stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You will stop seeking love, success, or happiness outside of yourself, because you will know that everything you desire is a reflection of the energy you cultivate within. Let others do as they wish. Let them think as they please. None of that concerns you. Your only responsibility is to master your own energy, to direct it with intention, and to trust that by doing so, life will unfold exactly as it should. When you focus on yourself, you are not ignoring the world. You're simply choosing to shape it rather than be shaped by it. And in doing so, you unlock a power that few ever realize, the power to create the life you truly desire. Not everyone is meant to understand you. This is a truth that, once accepted, will set you free. Many people spend their lives trying to explain themselves, justify their choices, and gain approval from those who were never meant to see their vision. But when you seek understanding from others, you give away your power. You make their perception more important than your own growth. The reality is, your journey is yours alone, and not everyone will see it, appreciate it, or support it. And that is perfectly fine. As you evolve, you will notice that your silence unsettles people. Some will misinterpret your distance as arrogance, coldness, or even rejection. They will question why you are not as available, why you no longer engage in meaningless conversations, why you have shifted your focus inward. But their confusion is not your concern. The path of growth requires solitude. It demands that you remove yourself from distractions, from unnecessary attachments, and from the need to explain yourself at every turn. Those who truly align with you will not need an explanation. They will understand your silence without question. When you begin to change, when you elevate your thinking, when you prioritize your peace, when you no longer entertain negativity, some will feel uncomfortable. They may resist your transformation because it challenges their own way of being. They were comfortable with who you used to be, with the version of you that was always available, always explaining, always seeking approval. But you are not here to remain stagnant for the comfort of others. You are here to grow. And growth often requires outgrowing people, places, and patterns that no longer serve you. Let them misunderstand you. Let them create their own stories about why you have become more distant, more focused, more selective with your energy. It is not your job to correct their assumptions. Your only responsibility is to continue evolving. Those who are meant to be in your life will adjust to your growth. Those who are not will remove themselves. Either way, it is not your burden to carry. One of the greatest mistakes you can make is slowing down your own progress just to be more relatable to others. You do not need to shrink yourself to fit into spaces you have outgrown. You do not need to dim your light so that others feel comfortable in your presence. The right people, the ones who are aligned with your purpose, will not only accept your transformation but will celebrate it. They will respect your silence, understand your distance, and support your decision to focus on yourself. There is great power in realizing that understanding is not a requirement for connection. Some of the most profound shifts in your life will happen in solitude, without validation, without applause, and without explanation. This is because true transformation happens within. It is an internal process, not something that needs to be broadcasted or justified. You do not need the world to understand you, you only need to understand yourself. If you spend your energy trying to convince others of your worth, your vision, or your decisions, you will exhaust yourself. Instead, let your actions speak. Move in silence. Focus on your path. Allow your evolution to unfold naturally. The right people will recognize your growth without needing an explanation. The wrong people will question it because they were never meant to follow you on this journey. Other day, your purpose is not to be understood, it is to evolve, to become the highest version of yourself, to embrace change without hesitation, to walk your path with confidence, even when no one else sees the destination. Let them misunderstand, let them talk, let them wonder. It does not matter. What matters is that you keep moving forward, unshaken, unapologetic, and fully aligned with who you are meant to be. Faith is not built in what is seen, it is built in what is unseen. It is the quiet confidence that what you hold within will inevitably become your reality. Most people struggle with this because they seek external confirmation before they believe. They want signs, validation, and proof before they trust in their desires. But true faith requires no proof. It demands that you trust the unseen so completely that the outer world has no choice but to conform. When you withdraw from the need to explain yourself, you allow faith to work in your favor. You stop looking for validation from others and instead you rest in the knowing that what you have accepted within will soon take shape in the physical world. The need to convince others is a sign of doubt. If you truly believed, you would not feel the need to explain, defend, or justify your vision. You would hold it in silence, knowing that time will reveal all things. There is immense power in keeping your desires private. Many people weaken their manifestations by speaking too soon, sharing their dreams with those who cannot see what they see. They open themselves up to doubt, criticism, and external opinions that dilute their inner certainty. But when you understand how faith operates, you no longer seek permission or approval. You hold your vision close, nurturing it in the unseen, until it becomes undeniable. Everything in this world begins as an unseen idea. The tallest buildings, the greatest inventions, the most profound transformations, all started as thoughts. Before they became visible, they existed in the mind of someone who dared to believe. They did not need the world's approval. They did not need others to understand. They simply held on to their vision with unwavering faith, allowing it to take root and grow in silence. You must do the same. Instead of explaining yourself, focus on embodying the version of yourself that already has what you seek. If you desire success, feel successful now. If you desire love, feel love now. If you desire abundance, feel abundant now. Your imagination is the blueprint for your future, and what you persist in assuming will harden into fact. This is how faith operates, not by waiting for proof, but by trusting that the unseen is more real than what the eyes perceive. Most people live in reverse. They react to their current circumstances and assume that what they see is all there is. They forget that their current reality is simply a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. If they wish to change their life, they must first change what they accept as true within. This is where faith becomes essential. It is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between the imagined and the experienced. Silence is the companion of faith. When you move in silence, you allow the unseen to work on your behalf. You do not waste energy explaining yourself to those who cannot see what you see. You do not seek reassurance from the world. Instead, you stand firm in your belief, knowing that the manifestation is already on its way. The moment you let go of the need to prove anything, you step into alignment with the very thing you desire. Let others wonder. Let them question your silence, your distance, your unwavering confidence. It is not your job to make them understand. Your only task is to hold your vision so steadily that nothing can shake it. When you master this, life will unfold effortlessly in your favor. What was once unseen will become undeniable. What was once only imagined will become your lived reality. And when that day comes, you will realize that faith was never about proving anything to others. It was always about proving it to yourself. The journey of focusing on yourself and staying silent is one of inner mastery. It requires you to detach from the need for validation, to trust in the unseen, and to understand that not everyone is meant to comprehend your path. True power does not announce itself. It moves in silence, allowing faith to shape reality without the need for explanation. When you withdraw from distractions and external opinions, you reclaim your energy, align with your desires, and step into the life you were meant to live. Let others misunderstand you. Let them question your distance. It is not your concern. Your purpose is not to be seen or validated. It is to evolve. The less you explain, the more life unfolds in your favor. So walk in quiet confidence, knowing that what you hold within will manifest without. Move with certainty. Trust in yourself and let your results speak louder than words ever could. Thank you.